Galatians 6:9, do not go where you're doing good, for at the right time you shall reap a harvest. If you don't do well, but at the end, therefore do good to all people, especially those who love all people.
Bless, not curse. Bless. Bless those who just spitefully use you. I'm supposed to bless them, not curse. Jesus. That's a hard thing to do. But when you pray for your enemies, it's like heaping hot coals upon their heads. When you try to bless them in your prayer.
There was versions of it. Ralph said, "Well, this is what happened," and I and I was like, wrote all that down. Then I talked to the other thing. He said, "What?" He said, "This is what happened." But then what you end up having to do is like find that truth in the middle. You know what I mean? And realize that they sometimes, in our own lives, we can remember something and be like, "Yep, I was wearing a green shirt and I was walking down Fifth Avenue, blah blah blah," and something like, "No, you weren't. You was wearing a white shirt and it was something." Like, you know what I mean? And you swear, like in your mind, as years go by, you remember things a certain way, and then your friends and your family can be like, "Nah, you know what really happened was this." It becomes like a game of telephone. But in terms of like how they, beyond the facts of it, yeah, it was an emotional thing. Ralph thought, I've sacrificed for this group, you know what I mean, since I was a kid. Now it's time for me to take something for myself. And he thought, my boys should support me. And they were like, we've already lost Bobby. Now you leaving. What are we supposed to do? How I'm going to eat? You know what I mean? So that was what it was. And like, they just couldn't, again, that miscommunication thing, they couldn't see it from the other person's perspective.
On the air, I had a panic attack.
Now, did that ever happen before, or was that
No, never. I was on the air here in Houston at 97.9 The Boxes, where I've been on the radio doing middays for about 6 years, and was just doing the most, dealing with a lot, and had a panic attack while I was on the air. Spent 2 days in the hospital. My boss called me while I was in the hospital, and she said, "Hey, you're doing a lot. You're trying to run a foundation. You're trying to drop these books. You're trying to work on the air. You're trying to do this community stuff. Like, you're doing too much, and you might want to consider letting something go." And the next day, I got out of the hospital.
I remember when I first initiated us discussing, I said, "Hey, you remember what this month is?" You was like, "Nah."
That's right.
So I think I was a sophomore in high school, and I remember meeting these two individuals at the Black Expo in Indiana, and then I met them again the summer of '96 before I went to Morris Brown. And what was cool, they were responding, and one of them remembered me. But you were on an album that really changed the game of hip hop, ATLians.
Yeah.
But before I get to that, so Andre at the Source Awards in '95 stood up and said the South got something to say.
Right.
And that really changed the trajectory of hip hop, of what I think it really put the flag on Atlanta in terms of we own this without that happening yet. You have a long-lasting relationship with Outkast, and I think that's very important because when I talk about the ingredients, because Dre and Big really see you as that consistent and key ingredients for what they've done throughout the year. And they've gone, and I think a lot of people who know Outkast also know you. Can you talk about your how you came to meet Dre and Big and just how did you become a part of so many segments?
Well, this is the deal. Okay, so in any industry, it's always word of mouth. I don't care where you go or what you do. You could be at McDonald's. It's still word of mouth.
Yep.
If you could be, at IBM, it's still word of mouth. Whether or not you move up the chain or whatever it may be at the time. But Dallas got his break. It was Deborah who he called to do back. So, who was he signed to? His conglomeration was a subsidiary was under LaFace. So when Babyface came here, and he said, I need somebody to sing on this record. Dallas, who do you recommend?
Wow.
Call Deborah.
Look at God.
So that's how, Dallas, I worked with Dallas, all of that. And so with Jermaine, it was the same thing. When they stopped their so-called feuding, Jermaine, contacted me to do like all the TLC stuff for him, and as well as other artists. So it was really just word of mouth. In any circumstance, in everything that I've ever done,
Because Big Boy said you were the fourth voice of TLC. What was he talking about?
Well, considering that I think I sang on all TLC records, aside from maybe about 3.
Oh wow!
And I think they had like 3 albums. So out of the 3 albums, I didn't sing on. So that's really what he meant. But they stand their own. I love my girls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but going back to, the callbacks. First it was Dallas, then it was LA. Then, of course, LA and Babyface, signed Outkast.
Yeah.
And then, they needed some background done, so they were like, call Deborah. So that's how it came about, all of that. So, and I've been rolling with my boys, Big Boy, we got a show in September 1st. There's some new theater or something opening up. Big Boy is supposed to be doing it.
Where at?
I don't know. It's some new place. It's some new place that's opening up. It's in. I don't know.
Yeah.
But September 1st, Big Boy will be here.
Because you sang. Did you sing on something playlistic?
Yes.
What was that? Okay.
Yeah.
You sung on. Okay. I'm on Growing Old on 8th. Did you sing on that?
Which one?
Growing Old, where Big Group was speaking at the beginning. Growing Old, 13-4.
I'll have to hear it. I don't know. I look at the time.
It's like 5 memories of yesterday.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so